My name is Catherine. My husband passed away 5 years ago. We didn't have any children together, and I lost hope in life after losing my beloved husband. What he left me with was the daily company of my kind-hearted mother-in-law, who supported me without cutting ties even after my husband's death, and an unexpected $3 million in insurance money. My mother-in-law is a very kind person, and although we lived together shortly after getting married, I have never experienced any mistreatment or bullying from her, and she continued to support me even after my husband's passing. However, a new encounter came into my life. My new husband, Daniel, has a 20-year-old daughter named Irene. Despite being 20 years old, she is emotionally immature and I can tell that she dislikes me. But, as I wanted to make this marriage work, I wished to live with my family of 4, including my mother-in-law, in this unusual setup for 2 years. However, one day Daniel found out about the $3 million in insurance money I have, and he said something unbelievable. I bought a $3 million house for my beloved daughter. A $3 million house? Yes, and we will live there from now on. From now on? Where on earth is that money? I was so surprised that I confronted Daniel like that. Then Daniel casually said, "You have it, don't you?" Are you talking about the insurance money left by my late husband? Yes, of course. There's no other money, is there? That money is. The insurance money left by my late husband is precious to me. I thought it shouldn't be spent. Money is money, right? It doesn't matter what kind of money it is. The transfer is already done. I'll move in right away. Hurry up and pack your bags. You'll be the housekeeper. Clean the mansion every day. What? A housekeeper? That's right, a housekeeper. You need a housekeeper for a $3 million mansion, don't you? It's such a big house. I never thought we'd clean a $3 million mansion as a family. I won't introduce you as a housekeeper to the neighbors from now on. No complaints, okay? Wait a minute. I've never been consulted about a $3 million mansion, you know? I don't need to consult with you. I decide everything. That's ridiculous. That money belongs to me. Come on, it's not that big of a deal. I get it, Irene doesn't want to live in this rundown place. Huh? We're only cohabiting here because you wanted to live with that old lady, and frankly, neither Irene nor I wanted it. The house is a wreck, and living with that old hag is annoying. Plus, since she owns the house, we have to be on our best behavior. Irene has had her share of complaints from that old woman. But those complaints are because you don't do anything around the house, so my mother-in-law feels compelled to say something. I don't want any of that. Being told to do laundry or clean up. Those are all outdated expectations. I don't intend to make Irene do those things. But if she could do those things properly, she wouldn't run into problems after getting married. If she can't do anything and still marry someone, it'll be Irene who suffers, you know? That noisy mother-in-law, or rather, that old hag, is a stranger to us. Even if she nags, we don't have to listen. Besides, with the $3 million mansion we built, someone is sure to come begging. But don't but me. If you can't listen to me, we'll get divorced. Huh? Daniel pointed to the wall, where, at the time of their marriage, he had forced me to sign a divorce agreement after we married. He had done it just in case since he had divorced. In case this marriage fails, I thought having the divorce agreement signed in advance would make things easier. Daniel had said back then, smiling. He even added, I think a sense of crisis is crucial in marriage. Having the divorce papers signed keeps that sense of crisis alive, which I believe is good for sustaining a marriage. As a result, every time there was an issue, Daniel would point to the wall, threatening to divorce her while laughing. What will happen to my mother-in-law? I don't care about that hag. She's not even your mother. Why do I have to take care of your ex-husband's parents? Irene hates it too, so it's clear we'll be living separately. I feel sorry for my mother-in-law. Living alone in such a big house. If she doesn't like being alone, she can move or go to a nursing home. Why do you say such things? Well, that settles it. You'll pay for the mansion with the $3 million your ex-husband left behind. I can't do that. I can't use that money. You can't use it? You've already signed the contract. All that's left is to pay. We have top-notch furniture in that house. Refusing to pay at this point won't fly. But you decided this matter on your own, and I didn't know about it. Doesn't matter. It can't be helped. It's what Irene wants. I'll make her happy. But, honestly, a $3 million house is impossible. I understand that you want to fulfill her wish, but a $3 million house is just impossible. It seems you want to divorce me. What? Are you rebelling against your husband? That's what it means, right? You can say you're okay with a divorce, that's why you say such things. That's not it. If that's not it, then what is it? This is already decided. I don't intend to listen to your opinion. Listen, just pay the $3 million. With those words, Daniel moved to the mansion with his daughter. Behind me, bewildered, my mother-in-law, who seemed to have appeared out of nowhere, said, "A mansion with a housekeeper, huh? Oh, hey. It's fine, let's live there too." Huh? I wondered how serious she was, but my mother-in-law said it with a smile. My mother-in-law is always cheerful and thinks positively about things. But this time, it's unlikely that she'll be so positive. After all, the most important thing to her is the $3 million in insurance money that her son left behind. Moreover, if we move to the mansion, my mother-in-law will have no place to stay. I don't know what treatment Daniel and Irene will give us. When I said that, my mother-in-law laughed and said, "So, let's buy our mansion." Huh? But that kind of money. Is Catherine planning to stay with that man every day? Are you going to listen to him and pay $3 million? If we live together, it's clear that you'll be treated like a housekeeper. And that daughter, Irene, is utterly useless. Your life will be at her beck and call. I understand that. But is it okay to separate? Even though we've been married for only 2 years. My son doesn't want you to suffer every day. If you really want that man so much, I won't oppose it, but if you have any doubts, now is the time to part ways. Indeed, that's true. Being threatened with divorce at every opportunity and being forced to endure a life where I'm treated like a housekeeper, my late husband would probably be more at ease if we parted ways. Okay, I'll do it. I think it's best to divorce. Well said. Then let's withdraw that amount. You should go to see the lawyer. I'll have a real estate agent I know come over. In this way, my mother-in-law and I moved forward with the purchase of a small mansion for us to live in. We needed the money for that, so rather than letting Daniel take away $3 million, we decided to use it for ourselves. But, obviously, we didn't need a mansion worth $3 million, so it became, even if it's $1 million, it's still expensive, but it's better to have good security, and considering the future, it's better to have a barrier-free place where we can use a wheelchair. A wheelchair? That's right. I won't always be healthy. It's too late to think about it when it happens. If we don't choose a house with an eye to the future, it will be a burden on you, Catherine. And if I make you suffer, my dear son in heaven will be angry. Don't make my dear Catherine suffer. But in this way, my mother-in-law and I worked out our opinions and decided on a high-end condominium. After the move was completed and the sale of the house we had lived in before was decided, a new life for my mother-in-law and I began. Living in the high-end condominium was comfortable, and the view from the large windows became my mother-in-law's favorite. It felt like our peaceful life from before had returned. However, it was during coffee time with my mother-in-law that Daniel, whom I had divorced, called. "Hey, how long do you plan to not move in? Because you're not coming, not only meal preparation but also cleaning is being neglected. Come over soon." Huh? Why? I said you're the housekeeper here, didn't you? Come over and clean the house. We can't survive on ready-to-eat food every day. A housekeeper should take care of our health. I don't intend to live there. What are you talking about? You're my wife, right? Come over and clean the house. I didn't say I would move in with you, and I don't recognize that house. Whether you recognize it or not, your opinion doesn't matter, as I've already told you. I said I bought this house, so you should follow that. Listen, you exist to be my wife and obey what I say. That's a wife's duty, you know. Why should I have to obey when it's something you decided on your own? That's exactly why I'm saying it. You are my wife. Wives don't defy their husbands. I'm no longer your wife. Even if I were your wife, I don't intend to obey. What? What do you mean? You said it, didn't you? If I can't obey you, it's divorce. So I submitted the divorce papers to the office. What did you say? Who gave you permission? It's not about who gives permission. You made that decision, right? Since I can't agree with your decision, I submitted the divorce papers. If you submit the divorce papers, you should receive a notice about it. I haven't received any notice. Well, that makes sense. When I submitted the divorce papers, I didn't know your address over here, so I didn't inform the authorities of your address. That's why the notice of the divorce filing should have been sent to our old house. How can you say that? If it's being sent by mail, why haven't you contacted me? First of all, you should have mentioned it before submitting the divorce papers. Well, typically, there should have been a discussion, but you've always said we're getting a divorce, so I thought it was just a matter of me accepting it or not. That's why I didn't consult or inform you. I don't see any problem with that, though. Do you really think something so stupid could happen? Did you actually prefer that rundown shack? Well, yes, I used to think that way. I thought you had some attachment to that house. But it seems that wasn't the case. All I want is to live with my mother-in-law. Why would you want to be with that old hag? She's just annoying. And even Irene can't stand her, so living separately would be the best. I think it's the same for you wanting to be with Irene. Isn't she the best daughter for you? But for me, she was just someone I couldn't accept. What did you say? Don't compare that hag and Irene. In that case, our conversation is over. I don't think there's any need to talk further with someone who refuses to listen to me and insists on imposing their own views. I'll be living with my mother-in-law. You're such a fool. You could live in a mansion. Feel free to do as you wish. Fine, if you like that old dump so much, do as you please. I'm going to live in my mansion. Please, go ahead. I won't stop you. But, you're still the housekeeper. Come over and clean this place up. I decline. I have no reason to go there. That's because you're the housekeeper. A woman who is not a wife should not visit a man's residence. We don't know how the neighbors might react. Why are you talking such nonsense? I said I'd hire you as a housekeeper. I don't have the time to clean your mansion for free. Housekeepers don't come cheap, you know. What? Are you trying to extort money from me? It's only natural, right? Did you think you could hire a housekeeper for free? If you really need one, why not let Irene do it? Since you have a daughter. Let Irene do that. No way. In that case, you should do it yourself or hire a real housekeeper. Either way, I won't be going there. You do as you please. But I won't forgive you even if you come and apologize later. There's no need to apologize, I believe. So, don't worry. With that, I turned my gaze toward my mother-in-law. She was grinning from ear to ear, full of mischief. Having her support made me feel like my late husband was by my side, giving me the courage I needed. Well, if that's how it is, I won't contact you again. I won't pay any alimony since we're divorced. That's fine with me. I have no problem with that, so rest assured. However, despite Daniel's declaration that he wouldn't contact me again, he surprisingly called again quite soon. It was 2 months after our previous conversation. When are you going to pay for this house? The real estate agent is pressuring me. This is the house you purchased, right? Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about the house I bought. Why do I have to pay for it when you're the one who bought it? What are you saying? I believe that's your responsibility since you bought it, isn't it? I don't have that kind of money. I'm not aware of that. You bought it because you thought you could afford it, didn't you? What are you talking about? I always counted on your money. Is it the $3 million you got from my late husband? Yeah, that's right. I always thought of that money as something I shouldn't touch, so I had no intention of using it for your frivolous purchases. When you mentioned moving, I wanted to explain that, but you didn't listen at all. Who else is going to pay if you don't? The one who bought it, I suppose. Don't joke around. Besides, we're divorced now, so technically, we're no longer connected. We were still married when I bought this house. But it's precisely because you bought this house that we got divorced, isn't it? Why don't you pay just $3 million for this house? I refuse. You don't have the authority to refuse. You're the one who initiated the divorce. You should pay me alimony. I won't accept that. You have no right to refuse. Since we've been married for over a year, we should divide our assets. So, your $3 million should be given to me. That money wasn't earned by us as a couple, it was something my late husband left for me. It shouldn't be subject to asset division. Also, considering your unreasonable behavior, I could even claim emotional distress as part of the divorce settlement. Why do you think you can claim alimony? What's distressing about it? It's compensation for mental suffering. And I've endured a lot of that. What do you mean by suffering? Oh, you want to hear it? Well, I'll tell you. Let's start with Irene, for instance. She's 20 years old and supposedly a college student, but she doesn't even do part-time work. She completely ignores anything I say. Not only that, when I ask her to clean up or do some chores, she does nothing. Instead of helping with the housework, she seems to think of me as a housekeeper, and she keeps hurling insults like, "Don't act like my mother" at me. Well, she's just a kid, so it's natural. And you, too. You hardly ever came home properly. When you did, you acted as you pleased. I'm working hard, and you treat me like a housekeeper or a slave, expecting me to do everything. It's only natural for a wife to take care of the household. Couples should help each other, but all you cared about was yourself. Even when I was feeling unwell, you didn't care and kept bossing me around. Thanks to you, I got healthier. Even now, there's some woman I don't know living in that house, right? I don't know what your relationship with her is. Why do you know about that? After you left, you sent me your address, remember? You must have wanted me to come. So, 1 month ago, during the day, I visited your mansion. That's when a middle-aged woman came out. Seems like you have a thing for flashy people. It was quite a surprise. I didn't hear about that. You probably thought it was nothing much. Well, it wasn't a big deal, but... So, what happened? I asked if she was your wife. She said yes. I was surprised, but I thought I should at least introduce myself properly. I told her I was your ex-wife. Then, she looked me up and down and said, "Oh, you look just like her." She even resembled Irene in her rudeness. But what surprised me even more was when Irene came out from inside and called that woman Mom. I had never heard Irene call me Mom even once. Oh! I realized that woman is Irene's real mother. So, you got back together with your ex-wife to get that mansion, right? I never thought I got married to you just because you wanted a fancy house. No, it's not like that. It's okay. I don't mind. But I want to know the reason behind it. It's almost like cheating to move back in with your ex so quickly. Do you have any excuses for this? Well, she is my ex-wife after all. Yeah, so what Irene said was true. Since you didn't come here, I decided to live with my ex-wife. As a housekeeper? Yeah, that's right. I thought she'd at least clean and tidy up if we lived together. Irene was happy about it too. I see, a housekeeper. What's the matter? Is she really just a housekeeper? There's nothing else she could be. Actually, Irene has been sending me videos. Let me forward them to you. The video I forwarded was shot by Irene with her smartphone. It showed him and his ex-wife getting along intimately. And the conversation was, "Getting this fancy mansion was a great move, huh? Yeah, this was a piece of cake. That woman really thinks I love her. She's such a fool. When you said you wanted a divorce, I was surprised, but I never thought it was to get this mansion. But what would you have done if that woman had moved in here? I don't care. She's a housekeeper. I was planning to accept you as my common-law wife and her as a housekeeper. That way, she would pay for this house, and I'd have a housekeeper, too. Well, that's a shame. Even though I used to be a rich girl. She's a terrible woman, leaving at the last minute like that. I'll find a way to bring her here. Once she's here, I'll make her work like a slave for the rest of her life. Daddy, you're the best." Even though he says he's the best, he sends me videos like this. Irene is still so immature. Even if something like this comes, there's no way I'd fall for your tricks. Irene! Originally, I figured out that you wanted the mansion. In the end, you remarried me just for my $3 million, right? Well, yeah, that's true. I heard about the insurance money when we were dating, and it got me thinking. Until then, I was just playing around. I see. But living with you was tough. You and your mother were so naggy all the time about manners and stuff. That's why you didn't come home often. To go to your ex's place? Yeah, that's right. It was much more fun to be with her. It's only natural. Is it really natural? Well, we're already divorced, so I'm going to remarry my ex-wife. I was thinking of having you as a common-law wife and accepting her as a housekeeper. Congratulations, by the way. So, I'll give you a severance payment of $3 million. I'm sure you want a clean break from me too. You wouldn't want me to bother you anymore, right? I can't pay that money. If you really insist, you should go after it yourself. But I don't have that kind of money. What do you mean you don't have it? Do you know what happened to the house we used to live in? What are you talking about? That property has long been cleared. My mother and I are living in a $3 million condo. A $3 million mansion? There's no mansion like that around here. I never intended to live near you. But I bought the house for my mother. In reality, it's a $1 million high-rise, but I didn't want this guy to exploit me, so I lied. I planned to use the remaining $2 million for my mother. You said you wouldn't use that money. Yes, but I decided it's better to use it for my mother-in-law than to let you take it. Thank you. You did that with my money. What a nerve. Well, it was never really your money, was it? You're quite audacious. Darn it, now I can't pay for the house. Too bad. With that, I hung up the phone. Daniel must have thought I'd give up, but a month later, he contacted me again and wanted to meet. I declined at first, but he was so persistent that I eventually agreed to meet at a predetermined location. There, I found Daniel in a shabby suit. What's with that outfit? Aren't you having your ex-wife take care of your daily life? I couldn't help but blurt out, surprised. She only takes care of herself. She's always been that way. So, you like that kind of person? I guess it can't be helped. Once I regained my composure, I gave my husband a cold look. A person who only takes care of themselves, I imagine the mansion must be impeccably clean inside. Not a chance. The house has never been cleaned since then. It's like a dump. The house is so big that the mess doesn't stand out, but no one ever takes out the trash, so trash bags are scattered everywhere. Even though it's a luxury mansion, the living room is cluttered with food and the expensive sofa looks like a cheap one. It's unbearable. Oh, you like that messy state, don't you? You find it too constricting to tidy up like I do? You've got to be kidding me. Well, you chose it. Please, let's live together again. It has to be you. We're already divorced. I'll kick her out. But you've already remarried, haven't you? No, I haven't officially married her again because I don't want to. That's why I want to remarry you. I don't want to remarry either. Besides, I don't have any money left. There's no benefit for you. I know, but if we both work, we can manage somehow. Then have your ex-wife and Irene work too. It would be much more effective with the three of us, wouldn't it? Those two don't do anything. I can only rely on you. I'm the wrong person to rely on. I enjoy living with my mother-in-law more. Please, I'm begging you. Don't abandon me. If that's what you're going to say, don't ever call me again. You're not that kind of woman. Unfortunately, I am. With a disappointed look, Daniel fell to his knees and kept asking for help, but I walked away without looking back. Afterward, Irene, who had never been scolded no matter what she did, seemed to be quite angry this time. It was because her plan had gone awry due to her sending me that video. Moreover, the expected $3 million didn't come in, and in the end, they had to put the mansion up for sale. Irene moved in thinking she could live in the mansion, but it was put up for sale, and it was so full of garbage that she couldn't even go inside, so there were no buyers. His ex-wife came to live in the mansion, but the house was put up for sale. It was full of trash, and strange insects she had never seen before appeared. She couldn't stand it and left the house. Irene, who had thought she could live with her mother, ended up living with a man after all. Daniel, abandoned by both his ex-wife and Irene, continued to live in the mansion for a while, but it was so bad that he eventually became depressed, moved out, and started a new life. However, the unsold mansion remained, with only the mortgage left, and it is said that Daniel is being chased for it. Daniel, who is suffering from depression while continuing to work, is exhausted, and he breathes repeatedly with vacant eyes, as if he has lost all emotions. He occasionally contacts me, apologizing repeatedly and pleading for help in a desperate voice, but I have no obligation to help Daniel, who is neither my husband nor my family, so I have firmly refused and blocked him. Daniel, who is currently living in a small apartment, should not be able to pay off the debt, and it is said that he is on the verge of starving. As for me, I live an elegant life in a high-end apartment with my mother.